Hey everybody, it's Dr. Anthony G. Beck, and normally some of the videos that I actually make are about education, motivation, and inspiration, and when it comes to all things health and wellness and well-being and mindset. Well, today I get to give you a dose of mindset, and the reason why is because I have been in a very interesting situation as of late, and I think one of the fun things to do is when you have toxic people. I think we've all had toxic people in our life at some particular point. And we've also all experienced the woes of Facebooks, right? And the thing about it is this. Lately, I've had an interaction with a particular lady. And it started with a conversation in Balance Protocol, the group that you guys are probably going to see this, but I'm also going to share this on my personal page. And basically it all started back in August 20th, where I posted this particular link here from drugs.com. That is a typical pharmaceutical, conventional medicine-based website talking about medications and all that kind of fun stuff. And I basically just said, here's some food for thought and thoughts about the vaccines. And a lot of people don't really know that there are some problems with vaccines, right? It's a big topic today. The pro-vaccinators, the anti-vaccinators, which is actually interesting that who gets to determine who's the pro and the anti and the connotations that come with that. But long story less boring is this post, of course, brings out a very unsettling point for people, and that is about the topic of vaccines. Many of you kind of know me and you understand that I'm about personal freedom of choice and sharing the controversy, having a balanced understanding so people can make their own decisions for themselves and have the freedom to do so, and of course never to force your particular views or things like that on another person. Well, this particular post went on, and on the scene comes this particular lady. Her name is Jill Ann Rudy, and I'd like you to kind of meet Jill Ann Rudy, in parentheses Rogers, who's Jill.A.Rudy on Facebook. Anyhow, I believe she's like a nurse or a medical assistant or something like that. She works here in Orlando, I believe at like Winnie Palmer, which is a traditional kids hospital. And of course, one of the things about it is she is incidentally something kind of very interesting. So we're getting a little intimate here in Dr. Beck's life. I am a member of a community garden. Of course, I've always been a huge advocate of people planting and growing their own food and things of that nature. Well, I met this lady about 6 months ago for the first time. She basically got a bed in the garden and started planting. It's the one and only time that I've ever even met her, verbally spoke to her, been in her physical presence. But she seemed pretty nice, at least at first, and so I invited her into the Balance Nation group. Well, I didn't know that she was going to be one of those toxic individuals who really lacks class and character and is a liberal progressive, which many of you know me, I just do not mesh well with. But to each their own. But I wanted to let you get a little taste of what the face of what this is actually like, right? And it's very ironic because she has a little meme. She's always doing these things that are making fun of science, making fun of God, and that kind of fun stuff. And she talks about arguing with idiots is like playing chess with a pigeon. No matter how good you are, the bird is going to shit on the ground and strut around like it won anyways. Well, if this isn't the pot calling the kettle black, when I show you this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyhow, very sarcastic, very shallow individual starts an argument in Balance Nation with me. Not going to give you all that, but as you can see, it's the typical gamut of these big, long diatribes. I mean, look at this stuff, right? It's unbelievable. I mean, like, who has time to do all that stuff? And then, of course, all the other reasonable people and logical, rational folks, that kind of fun stuff. So she begins to go ahead and ad hominem attack me in the group. And here's what I did. I said, tell you what, Jill, I understand about the people who are pro-vaccines. But here's the deal. I will give you $10,000 if you provide me one clinical trial that proves the current vaccination schedule of 38 different injections, all the way from birth to age 18, right? Combined in that schedule have been proven through clinical trials safe and effective. I said, matter of fact, tell you what, I'm so certain that it's not out there, because it's not, that I will say $20,000, 20,000 US dollars wanted poster for just one, she always quiz, there's a whole bunch more, clinical trial that shows and proves unequivocally that the vaccine schedule as it currently is both safe and effective. Well, never happened. But now we've interacted on my particular, gross stuff. So she's so angry and upset and has this thing. I wanted to share with you guys. It's a little awkward, right? Because it's a sad thing. And I really wanted to share with individuals what these types of people are capable of. And it's going to blow your mind, right? So there's a disagreement when it comes to how many weeds should be allowed in a particular bed or something like that in this stuff. And so she begins to, attack me for that because, of course, she's all bitter and stuff. So here's what she did. So she sends me a personal message on Facebook. Remember, this is Jill Ann Rudy. I think she's a nurse or some sort at a hospital that takes care of kids, right? And she begins to tell me that I have Napoleon syndrome, which there's no such thing. It's actually complex. And then, she just begins to just go on and all these things and call me a narcissist. And, she's embarrassed for me and all these other kind of fun stuff. And then what ends up happening is so she just keeps on going on and she decides to go ahead and say, I don't think you're capable of paying that $20,000 is why she didn't take me up on it, because an ND, a naturopathic doctor like me, would just keep dragging the argument on, right? And so forth and so on. And she just kind of gets lost in all this nonsense. And she goes, you're an ND. What do you make? 80, maybe 90 G's? So do I, without selling vitamins, right? And she basically says that I'm unprofessional and that I am basically working off of fear. I make money off of fear and supplements. Yeah, that's right. Make a good living doing that. And then saying that I live to argue, but she's the one who is all the one. And then she posts this stuff, like this kind of picture here, right? Mandatory vaccine checkpoint for babies, making fun of me and mocking me, the mom hanging down on the thing, being held down, by the vaccine enforcement, and here, stop before we, do your kids. So this is the ugly face of someone who is a pro-vaccinator who attacks everybody, right, for not agreeing with her, and then, of course, transposes it onto the person that's disagreeing with her. It's an amazing thing. So as if that didn't get that bad, and I just wanted to share with you. So here's what she decides to do. After I basically tell her to just leave me alone, go away, and I use some colorful words back to her to basically say that, what she's doing, these ad hominem attacks, she's just bitter and sick and just mean-spirited, right? So keep in mind, this particular individual has never met my wife before in her life, but she decides to send her a message on Facebook, and it reads a little something like that. Please read this and delete, just in case Anthony figures out or requests your password. It's important information you need, and I don't know you personally. Oh, but she feels it's okay to just randomly send somebody a mean message that is defamatory, right, to a person's husband, right? But I want to help you. I'm writing you out of concern. I may be wrong, and I apologize if I feel I am, but it appears you may be a victim of domestic violence, guys. So my wife, my beautiful and lovely Abigail, better known as Chelsea to some of you guys, the mother of my child, is being suspected of being a victim of domestic violence. This is what these kind of people are capable of. And I'm shocked and scared that she's even in the healthcare industry. Could you imagine if this kind of lady had parents come into the hospital and wanted to make a particular decision for their child or themselves, and if she didn't agree with it, so she would be the kind of person that would call law authorities, make false accusations, that would put people into some type of a legal action? It's amazing. And she goes, you might not be physically abused yet, but I know you must be minimally, verbally and mentally abused. And that can be equally traumatizing. And you need to be aware and careful, right? So you can kind of read through this, and she goes, well, if you feel unsafe, contact Harbor House, which is a very nice organization. And in my medical practice, we actually have that hanging in the actual women's bathroom with little tear tags. So it is a decent and good number that does provide that service. But the problem is that this lady, having never met my wife, having only met me once 6 months ago, going off of a disagreement on Facebook, felt it within a correct type of mindset that she goes and attacks me. Now, of course, my classy wife says, thanks for the email and concern. I'm actually very much in love with my husband and very happy. Oh, thank God. I'm sorry. It just seemed fit. Glad all is well at home. My heart sunk when I thought he fit the picture. Then just remembered about you and your daughter. What a disgusting and shallow, evil individual. So I wanted to show you a personal story that happened to me by this particular lady, Jill Rudy, Jill.A.Rudy on Facebook. So feel free to send her a note and say how you feel about Dr. Anthony G. Beck. If not, sorry to put something on this, but what I wanted to do is give an opportunity for people to understand, point blank, up in your face, something that happens to those of us who disagree with the status quo, who issue forward warnings to people to not just go and get things injected into your children that you don't know what it is. Now, the vaccine debate is not going to be covered anytime soon, just like some other social issues, and have resolve. But what we do have to stand up against are mean, vicious bullies like this lady Jill. So wanted to share a little bit with you guys. Don't worry about me. I have internal fortitude of self. I'm blessed beyond measure. I'm right in my heart in the eyes of God, and my patients who I absolutely love, nurture, and cherish from all walks of life. But be careful, guys, of the things that you let people into your life that are toxic, that can possibly create legal battles and just devastating consequences from these bullies online, especially when it comes to social issues like vaccination. So be careful, folks. Hopefully you'll take this in the spirit that it was intended, and I just wanted to share with you that so you can actually make some safeguards and choices in your life and be careful and always vigilant of these evil type of sour individuals who have nothing inside, and they're trying to create havoc for others, all the while putting on the face of a person who cares. Until next time, guys, let's live life in balance.